All right, guys, what I have here is a drum of a 68 RFE, and we're going to put this together so we can air check it. I'm going to assemble it without the hubs because we don't need the hubs yet. We're going to assemble it, and what we're going to install in this one, it's a RFE-PP ODHP from Transgo. And what this does, it allows us for one extra friction for the overdrives, to give it more clutch holding capacity. And also, we're just going to install the basics, the SK45 RFE-A, and this is just a basic build. But also, what goes into these units are on the pump goes RFE-TCC-ACUM, which is an accumulator for the accumulator wear on the TCC accumulators on the valve. Also, the valve that gets reamed in the pump also goes in it. And also these two items right here, the RFE-SV453 NT, where this is the solenoid switch valve on the valve body, and these are the accumulators, the from Sonex, the heavy duty accumulators. Whenever you get one of those shiny valve bodies, these two items is what goes into those units. So here we have the heavy duty accumulators. It uses two sealed sealing rings and then one factory sealing ring in the middle. And they include all the sealing rings on it. So whenever you buy one of those shiny, nice looking, I don't want to say no company names, but they are very, very expensive. You know, kind of like $1,600 or $1,700 valve body. Well, these two items is what goes in them, plus their shiny little plate that goes on the back. But what we do, and I think it's a little better. What I do to make that valve body even better without you guys taking it to a tuner, like this is RFE-5B-HP. This comes with the spacer plate. You don't need that shiny backing plate or the channel plate for it. All the pressures are raised. It's a tuneless shift kit. All the pressures are raised within the valve body itself with the spacer plate. So you don't need none of that. Plus these two items, I mean, that's what makes that expensive shiny valve body. So if you kind of wondering what goes into that, there's only one valve in that valve body, the accumulators. Well, actually the manual valve and the other little switch valve. But that's what goes into those valve bodies, and that's what goes into, and what I just show you, this is what goes into ours, and some other stuff what we do to the units, and I mean, we make them pretty heavy duty, and they do work pretty good. All right, so let's go back to assembling this drum. Now, let's start with the underdrive. So these are single-sided frictions. So there are 10 frictions here, but they are considered 5. They are considered 5 because one internal and one external, it is one friction, right? So let's go ahead and install it. So no changes are done down here on the underdrive. That's one friction. That's two frictions. That's three frictions. That's four frictions. And this would be considered like a steel, which has the outer lugs, right? So kind of count this as a steel and then a friction, right? So we got our 5 frictions in there. Nothing changes there. Now we install our flat snap ring that goes underneath our underdrive, overdrive pressure plate. And always leave the opening, because we are going to disassemble this drum again. Always leave the opening of the snap ring accessible so you can get to it like that. Our pressure plate, the flat side goes down toward the underdrive, and then this bevel uh, step right here, or with the dot, goes facing you, right? No frictions right on this, and actually it was made like this so that you can have access to the snap ring. When you're taking it out, it passes through that step and is easy for removal. And you do the same thing here. Install the snap ring, accessible, so that you can remove it. So you can get your screwdriver back in here and remove it, because we're going to take it off so that we can install our hubs, right? All right, so nothing changed down there, but we're still going to air check and check the clearance down there. And now here on the overdrive, we're going to add one extra friction, right? So that would be considered like a steel. That's a friction. That's one. Let's count it. That's two. That's three. That's four. That's five. That's six. With a normal pressure plate, that's where you would finish. We're gonna add one extra, and this is seven. Down here on the outside, I already have it installed. But down here, this snap ring, let me take it out right quick. This is the wave snap ring. So the wave snap ring goes in first. And in order to accommodate an extra friction, you see the step right here, it's like a dished in, or a lot of material was taken off of the overdrive side of the pressure plate. Let me get the old one and show you what it looks like. So this is the overdrive side of it, and as you can see, it does have a little bit of dished built into it. We have a number two on the reverse side of it, and this is the overdrive side of the factory space pressure plate. And this is the overdrive reverse, right? So material was taken off, or it was built like this, and to accommodate an extra friction. Now we install our flat one. So the flat one goes on top, and the tapered goes on the bottom. So to install it, you just kind of press down on it. So I'm pressing down with my thumb, so it'll go into our groove, because our snap ring down here acts as a spring. And there's no changes here on the reverse. Install our reverse pressure plate. And we can use that, or we can use a big hammer like this one. Get it down. Install our snap ring. And in four corners, just lift up on the pressure plate to relieve the pressure against the frictions. All right, so now that we have our thing installed, let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and put the pump together temporarily, because I'm going to show you what goes into the pump as well. Let's go ahead and assemble the pump temporarily so that I can air check this drum, and we'll come back and air check it. All right. So I guess before we begin, we need to look at our clearances and where are they going to end. So I got this zeroed out, and it's kind of hard to position this thing here. And going down is overdrive, and going up it's our reverse circuit. So our underdrive is 38 to 68 thousandths of an inch. And for that, we need to disassemble everything. Not everything, but remove our frictions, and just to test underdrive. So we are going to come back and disassemble our drum and do that. Overdrive is 40 to 63, and reverse is 32 to 49 thousandths of an inch. Uh, that's going to be our clearances. And then we have our low reverse clearance, the fourth clutch clearance, and our second clutch clearance that we're not going to focus that on this video. We're just going to check on the overdrive and reverse, which is our most concern. Now, Sonic's drums are good and all. I mean, their design and their everything behind it, it's awesome. But it is kind of hard to, even though it comes with two shims, It's kind of a you give or take from one to the other. All right, so let's go ahead and check our. I think this is reverse. Let's see where we at in reverse. So we got is going. This is our overdrive. So we're going this way. We got 50. Let's see where we end up. 60. Now I'm trying to. This thing doesn't really give you the. Oh, I'm a little bit over. I got to be somewhere around there. 20 pounds of air pressure. And still we got 50. So we're zero right here. We got 50, 60. We're about 68 thousandths of an inch. That's our maximum, 38 to 40 to 63. Now let's check our reverse. Reverse is going to be on the opposite side. We got 56. And our reverse is 32 to 49. So our overdrive, we go back to 0. 66, 67. It kind of fluctuates because of the air pressure. And this gauge is supposed to keep it low pressure, but it doesn't. So I have to throttle. I have to throttle my. So we are at 68. We're on the max. So we need to install a one underdrive friction on the overdrive. Let's check our reverse. Once we tighten up overdrive, our reverse will get looser. $58. Reverse is 32 to 49. It's a little tight. It's a little tight. I know there's some, I mean, it's a little loose. I know there's some snap rings that you can install here and bring the clearance down. And it would be nice if there were spacer plates, or actually I mean, not spacer plates, steel plates from a 66 RFE, which as a matter of fact, I got some of those somewhere, but I got to do a lot of digging to get them. And they are thicker separator plates. All right, well, let's disassemble this thing. Let's disassemble this thing right quick, and see if we can bring our clearance a little closer by adding one underdrive friction, which is almost 10 thousandths of an inch thicker. So we should bring it down by 10 thousandths of an inch. Okay, let's remove our magical. Now, there's a theory behind all this. Running it on the looser side is actually better than tightening it up. And the reason being is that you have so this is a see, let me measure this. You got to be able to have fluid. See, this is 58 thousandths. 58 thousandths. And this is supposed to be like 52 thousandths. So we're going to bring it that much closer. I will not go any closer than that because the theory behind it is that you want to have, whenever the overdrive frictions are not applied, you want to have fluid circulating around it to cool them frictions down. And keep in mind that these are single-sided frictions, and they are real thin. And the concept is good, you know, to have frictions like that, but in reality, double-sided frictions, I think they work better. You know, like this one here is a double-sided friction. And then you have your steel here. So it's kind of hard unless you have the factory tool, which I don't have. Unless you have the factory tool, you can probably regulate air pressure going to it, or you can just throttle it. We are adjusting the clearance on this thing, and this thing is really hard to zero out. Once you have it on here, it's kind of a pain to zero out. Let's go ahead and, as you can see, we're already about 0.005 of an inch. And this thing does not work right. Let's see. All right, we're zeroed. We're zeroed. Let's go ahead and check our overdrives and see how far we go down. And we went to 60. We went down 61 to 63 thousandths. And we check our overdrive, 40 to 63. We went down. If I put more air pressure, it'll go to 65, which it was almost going in 70 thousandths of an inch. Let's check our reverse. Our reverse is the same because we have not adjusted anything here. So we are on the looser side. See, it went down. Well, this thing is coming out of a. Very, like I said, it's kind of hard to zero this thing out. So here we got 0. Let's check our overdrive again. 62. 53. 63. And 53. Let's check our reverse. Reverse is still too much. Hold that thought. Let me look for that one steel. And 66 RFE steel. I gotta have one somewhere here. And we'll adjust the reverse. And I'm going to install the other underdrive and see if we can get overdrive a little bit cleaner. All right, so here we are back again. I did not find the steel plates for the 66 RFE, and what I do every time I build one of those, I get one of those these spacer plates and do their recommendations for what's on the paper, and I throw away. I think I threw them away because I've done so many, and I have no use for those thick steels and frictions. And now that I want to try them on this, I don't have them. All right, well, let's go ahead and check our overdrive and see what changed. I added the pair, you know, for underdrive on the overdrive, and let's see if we're going to get a little bit better clearance. Let's go ahead and check our gauge here. And we are on the yellow, which is good. We have low air pressure. The maximum we got is 60 thousandths, which is good. But then we air check it a few times, 55. So I see that this thing got out of zero. There we go. Let's go ahead and check our reverse. Our reverse is still the same. Nothing's changed because I haven't done anything on it. I tried installing one of these thin ones on top of the friction, but it's way too tight. So even though they want 35, so we got 10, 20, 35 as a minimum, we are above 50. So I barely throttle it, and just keep it. I got 56, 55, and I know if I can add more pressure. This is what Sonics is talking about the friction sort, the plate flexing. So if we go, it stops right there. If I keep going, adding air, this is what they're talking about, flexing. So now we got 63 thousandths with max air. So if I just air check and release, it's hitting on the 56. 56 and returns. So we are good right there. Let's check our underdrives. So every time you air check something like this, I mean, underdrive seems that overdrive is good. Reverse is a little bit too much, I think. This is underdrive. Overdrive, we're above 50. We're above 50, so it's, remember, overdrive 38 to 68. No, 40 to 63. So we're good there. Let's go ahead and disassemble and try to and let's check our underdrives. Underdrives is never a problem. Whenever you disassemble one of these units, you're not going to see them burn up unless it's not tuned properly. And yeah, you can ruin these things up by not tuning it right. And I see a lot of bad tunes on these Dodge trucks. Now on some trucks I cannot access the tune because they lock them, and I don't know why they lock them, but I mean, and on the ones that are not locked, and I look in there, the pressures are extremely high, but you can actually see the pressures with your scan tool. And I would not recommend, you know, raising line pressure to over 60,000. Well, I don't need to disassemble that. Let's go ahead and try this again. Try this again with our underdrives. See if we can get down there. If we can get down there. If not, let's go ahead and change this thing. Let me tighten that up. Let me get my stuff right quick. My big pliers. Let's change this to a longer one. Okay, let's see here. Whoops. Let's try this one. Hold that thought right quick. All right, I got that little thing changed. I got this thing zeroed out. Let's go ahead and check it. 38 to 68 thousandths of an inch. That's going to be our clearance. Let's go ahead and check this. So we got to be all 38 to 68. We are 53. 53 thousandths of an inch. And it returns back to zero. It's kind of hard to zero this thing out, but I mean you get the point. We are within specs. We are within specs now with underdrive, overdrive, and reverse is on the looser side, but it'll be just fine.